What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian from House of Rasslin, and this is my review for the June 15th episode of AEW Dynamite. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Follow House of Rasslin on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And also follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Wow, this episode of Dynamite, which was Road Rager, man, this was a very fun episode of AEW Dynamite. This was probably one of the better episodes that was consistent, and yet at the same time had they utilized the guys very well. We saw a few turns that did not expect or anticipate, maybe a month away or somewhat. Didn't feel rushed or anything, but man, this was a really cool episode. We saw a lot of talent from New Japan Pro Wrestling. This was really building up Forbidden Door, and this was a really good job to build up Forbidden Door. I'm excited because I have my ticket, and gonna have fun being there, man. That is going to be an event to see, to watch. I'm ecstatic for it. But man, this episode, it started off with Jericho and Ortiz, hair versus hair match. I was surprised to see that match start. I thought that match would be probably the third match, and you might have Dax Harwood and Ospreay starting off the match, which Dax has already opened up a singles match before, you know, against CM Punk and everything. So I was like, ooh, that could be something that, all right, this looks pretty interesting. But man, this was a pretty cool match. It wasn't overkill or how would I put it, too dramatic. And by dramatic, I mean you know, someone interfering and then not interfering. There was interference, but it wasn't overkill interference. This was just the right amount. But man, there was this match. This is where the one of the turns happened. Forgive me, guys, if you see me sweat. Like the room I'm in right now, there's a fan to the right of me. This room is hot as hell doing this review, so bear with me, guys. I know it's hot everywhere, so bear with me through this review. But man, this match, there was almost a botched top rope Hurricane Rana that Jericho attempted to perform, and Ortiz, smart thinking, quick thinking, he just powerbombed him. He didn't try to go through it. He powerbombed him, so that was really cool. It was cool seeing Eddie Kingston and Jericho Appreciation Society there, and they were antagonizing everything. Then eventually Kingston just beat up all of them, and then Wheeler Yuta and Santana came down. While they were doing that, Eddie Kingston got in the ring, hit the spinning forearm on Jericho. Ortiz went for the pin, 1-2, kicked out. It's like, oh, like really? For me, right then and there, I was like, man, Jericho's gonna win this. Like, damn it, I want to see Jericho cut his hair. So after that, out of nowhere, we see Fuego del Sol. Fuego, like someone you wouldn't think would be involved in this match. He comes with a baseball bat. I believe it was a baseball bat. Hits Ortiz. Jericho covers. 1, 2, 3. Jericho wins. So Ortiz has to get his head shaved. And Jericho and Hager and the rest of the Jericho Appreciation Society, they're there. They're celebrating. And then out of nowhere, the mask comes off, and it's Sammy Guevara. Yes, Sammy Guevara has realigned himself with Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. Not only him, but Tay Conti. So they're with the Jericho Appreciation Society, which now means that if he's at it, what's going to happen with Daniel Garcia? You know for a fact that there's going to come a point where Daniel Garcia either is going to leave or he's going to turn on him. And of course, the Blackpool Combat Club, Bryan Danielson he's mentioned, oh my God, Wheeler Yuta, Morrissey, not Morrissey, Oh my God, Daniel Garcia, and I can't remember. Oh, forgive me, guys. It's on the tip of my tongue. Oh my God, what is his name? Forgive me. So it has been mentioned, Daniel Garcia with the Blackpool Combat Club before he joined Jericho Appreciation Society. So that's something to think about. But yeah, Ortiz, he wound up cutting his hair and everything. He looked pretty cool. Kind of looked like me. I don't know if it's a Boricua thing, but it is what it is. So he did cut his hair. We go to a video package of Mark Sterling and Wartlow. This was kind of funny because they used the People's Court theme. That was hilarious. They go through the whole. They tell the whole story for the past couple weeks that he's going to face these 20 plaintiffs, and he does. So we get Wartlow versus 20 guys. Sounds like he's got a new theme. He stack pinned. So the way this match went, and I'm 50-50 on it because it's like, okay, he's fought 20 guys, so whatever. So it's kind of like a battle royal. Like he could beat them by throwing them over the top rope, submission, or pinfall. So it was like any way he could pin, he'd do it. He stack pinned all these guys at least 3 times. He wound up knocking the hell out of Dan Lambert. Was it Dan Lambert? No, it wasn't Dan Lambert. He didn't knock him out. So Dan Lambert tried to interfere from the balcony. He's like, oh, you're not going to face Scorpio Sky, this, and all that. He wound up getting the pin. He wound up attempting to powerbomb Mark Sterling, and MMA fighters Matt Hughes and Tyrone Woodley were there, and Wartlow's like, yeah, you're from St. Louis, and you have that Midwest vibe, and you're not gonna let some rich a-hole tell you what to do. So they shove Mark Sterling to Wartlow. Wartlow powerbombs Mark Sterling 1-2, just powerbombs him, boom, boom, boom. That's it. That was pretty cool to see how Wartlow is. You can tell Wartlow's gonna get that TNT title. Like, Wartlow is going to be the next TNT champion. It's not a matter of if, but when. I'm all for it. The way Wartlow, I know there's an issue that a lot of fans have with the way Wartlow does his promos and the way he talks and that stuff. I could see it. Hey, he's still young as far as in this push and being pushed in AEW. For what it is, I like it. He could improve in some areas, but man, this is fun, man. Let's just see where it goes, and especially with everything going on in the wrestling world. And I'm not gonna talk about it because everybody's gave their takes and stuff like that to death. I'm not gonna do it, but this is gonna be fun seeing Wartlow where he goes in his pursuit for the TNT Championship. Then we get, man, it's hard for me to say this. Man, Dax Harwood and Will Ospreay was the match of the night before the main event, the ladder match with the Young Bucks and Jurassic Express. But man, Dax Harwood, Will Ospreay, this was a phenomenal match. If you have not seen this match, I recommend you watch this match. Dax Harwood has had some of the best singles matches on Dynamite this year. His CM Punk match that he had. I'm trying to think of the other singles match that he's had. He's had quite a few. Forgive me, guys. But man, this was a classic match. This was a great way to introduce Will Ospreay to the American audience who may not have seen Will Ospreay. You probably heard about him. You've probably seen some YouTube clips, especially, I know the clip, the infamous clip of the match between him and Ricochet in New Japan. You've seen that. It's like 1 minute, 15 seconds, blah, blah, blah. But this was a really good showcase. AEW fans and just the American audience, hey, this is Will Ospreay. This is who he does. I've had the privilege of watching Will Ospreay live and in person, and man, that is a work of art, man. That is some good stuff. And I've seen some great matches. I was privileged to see the WCW Cruiserweight division in its prime with Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Dean Malenko, Juventud Guerrero, Jericho, Benoit. I was able to see that back in the mid to late 90s. But man, this guy, this was a good match, man. This was a great match. The crowd was split. The crowd was into it. Shout out to the St. Louis crowd. They love this crowd. And I'm noticing not only in AEW, but also WWE, that when, like, last week, the crowd was just, the audio, like, it was just something weird with that crowd. But I noticed when WWE, AEW, and you could throw Impact and MLW and just a few other promotions, when they go to a wrestling town, the crowd is just into it. But when they go into a crowd that's kind of like 50-50, you could get a vibe where they're just watching. And man, tonight they dug it. There was a lot of Dax, Ospreay chants. It was split 50-50. I like the chops in this match because they laid it in. There was one point where Dax Harwood chopped the hell out of Ospreay, and his hand was hurting. That was cool. There was a cool shotgun drop kick by Ospreay on Dax Harwood on the stairs. Dax Harwood wound up doing 5 German suplexes, which was dope. The reversals in this match were man, this was sweet, man. I would say this was not identical, but it put you in the mind of the Bret Hart 1-2-3 Kid match on Monday Night Raw. And it's the infamous match that really put X-Pac on the map. Check it out. It was 94 Bret Hart versus 1-2-3 Kid, aka X-Pac. That's what this match reminded me of. And man, this was a fun match to watch. Ospreay, he wound up. There was a point where Dax Harwood he reversed. Man, what was it? He had him in the powerbomb position. Like it was a result of a reversal he did on Ospreay. Had him in the powerbomb position. Did the slingshot powerbomb, pinned him. He attempted to pin him. Ospreay kicked out, and then Ospreay wound up doing the hidden blade. 1-2-3 Ospreay wins. After the match, you get the United Empire. They just beat him down. You have Dax Harwood, you have Rocky Romero, and you have Trent Beretta. They are just beating each other, and Ospreay's just looking on. And then Orange Cassidy music hits. Yes, Orange Cassidy comes out. We get a face-off between Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay. That was huge. Orange Cassidy came out to a huge pop. I loved it. It's been a while that we haven't seen Orange Cassidy. He comes out and he has a stare down with Will Ospreay. They announced later in the broadcast we're going to get Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy at Forbidden Door. I know Orange Cassidy's gimmick is, to some people, it's just hokey. But man, I've seen matches of Orange Cassidy wrestling. Man, that dude can go. Like, that guy can go. It's going to be fun at Forbidden Door to see how this plays out. I'm geeked for it to see how this plays out. But yeah, we get an Ospreay, Orange Cassidy face-off. Then we get a video package hyping up the Moxley-Tanahashi match at Forbidden Door for the interim AEW Championship. So we get Moxley and Tanahashi face off. You know, Moxley saying, you know, I've been chasing you for a long time. There's a lot of belts and tournaments. Then there's a huge Tanahashi chant. Moxley, he proclaims it, hey, I'm the best pro wrestler in the world. Then Jericho and Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti come and interfere. Tanahashi tells him, shut up. Then Jericho's like, you don't tell me to shut up. Then out of nowhere, you have Jericho waving the Jericho Appreciation Society down. And then you get Lance Archer and Desperado attacking Tanahashi and Moxley. So everybody's in the ring from Jericho Appreciation Society, helping Lance Archer and Desperado attack them. Then you get Wheeler Yuta. You get oh my god. Oh man, you had Wheeler Yuta and I believe Eddie Kingston. Forgive me, guys. It was just a lot of bodies there. And it was just happening so fast. So they announced that, or Jericho announces that it's going to be Jericho, Guevara, Archer, and Desperado versus Yuta, Shuda Omo, I believe that's how it's pronounced, Eddie Kingston, and I believe another person. So we're probably going to get that at Forbidden Door. It wasn't confirmed later on in the broadcast that it would happen, but that's what was thrown out there. All right, cool. That's what it is. I look forward to seeing Moxley and Tanahashi for the world title. Looking forward to it. Then we get a video package of Darby Allin and Red Dragon. Their feud, of course, goes back to Double or Nothing. That's going to be real cool. Wonder if Sting is going to come back. Maybe. Then we get backstage segment with Toni Storm. And she mentions how she dropped out of school at 15. She makes reference that, hey, it's, I'm the skill set. I'm the criteria of a champion. Just promoting the match later on against Britt Baker. Then we get Ethan Page versus Miro. Man, I like this matchup because it was fresh. And by fresh, I mean, I don't think these guys have met before. If they have, it's been a long time. So this was a pretty fresh matchup on Dynamite where it's like, ooh, okay. We haven't seen this matchup in a while. This is kind of, these matchups I like because this is the essence of AEW Dynamite, where you get two talented guys that maybe never fought before or haven't fought in a long time, and then they wrestle and it's for stakes. It's like, ooh, okay, this is interesting. And that's what AEW, has been known for. And you could say for a few months they kind of went away from it, and it's just like, it's not what it was. Excuse me, guys. But man, this was a really cool match. There was a loud Miro chant. This crowd was behind Miro 100%. Like Ethan Page and Dan Lambert, they weren't feeling him. But man, there was a lot of forearms to the chest by Miro. He had Ethan Page over the top rope, and he's just wailing on him, and the crowd is just counting the forearms to the chest. Then you have the "You effed up" chants to Ethan Page because he has Miro down, and he has, "Hey, why don't you pray to me?" And Miro snaps up, grabs his hand, and just headbutts him to the chest, which looked nasty. Then eventually Miro does the game over, puts him in the submission hold, 1, 2, like he just taps out immediately, Ethan Page. Miro advances to the All Atlantic Championship match at Forbidden Door. So you have Pac, you have Miro. So we're waiting the match between Penta and Malachi Black, and I don't think it's been announced the two New Japan wrestlers that are wrestling, but we'll find out. So next week it's going to be Penta and Malachi Black. That should be fun. Or I believe it's Rampage. One of the two. We're going to get that match soon. Either Rampage or Dynamite. Forgive me, guys. But man, that it was good to see Miro back. Me personally, I think he's the odds-on favorite. Him and New Japan with the representing AEW in that All Atlantic Championship, that should be fun. That should give a lot of enthusiasm to the New Japan Pro Wrestling. You could tell it's a combination of things with New Japan, but you could tell that they really miss the influx of foreign talent over there to just freshen up things, where they didn't have to use all their talent and all their stories, where they could use foreign talent to take a break on storylines that the talent over there regularly are in. But I'm looking forward to that. So we get a video package of Matt Sydal and Dante Martin pretty much promoting their match this Friday on Rampage against Jon Moxley. We all know Jon Moxley's going to beat his ass, but it is what it is. It was a decent promo. Then we get Toni Storm versus Britt Baker. This match was heavy hitting. This is a match that lately a lot of the AEW women's matches they've gone really physical. Again, my pet peeve with this match, this was the 3, 4. This was the 5th match on the card. There were 6 matches total, and I've mentioned it before. Whenever AEW has 6 matches, the women's match is always the 5th match, and whenever they have 5 matches, the women's match is always the 4th match. I wish this match would have been, you could say, you could say you could switch it with the you could say with the Ethan Page Miro match. Yeah, I just wish they would use the women's match in the 1st or 2nd match instead of the latter part of the card. It's just getting predictable. And AEW, they're now going into the area of bad predictability, where before it was good predictability, like, oh man, okay, we kind of know this is going to happen, but oh man, this is going to be really cool to see. Now it's kind of getting into that bad predictability where it's like, oh god, really? But no. Besides that, outside of that, this was a wonderful match. This was heavy hitting. Right off the match, they were just late, man. They didn't waste no time. They didn't walk around the ring. They just started going at it. Britt Baker, man, she nailed Toni Storm into the ring post. There was a split chance, DMD, Tony chance. And you know what? Kudos to the AEW fans. That has been happening a lot on their shows, where you hear a lot of split chants during matches and wrestlers where it's just like, man, okay. And that's cool because it just makes, if you're watching it, it just makes you get more into it. Like, oh man, okay, this is something, like, these fans are really into this, and it adds that extra element to the match that makes it even more interesting. And mind you, this is just a match. It's not necessarily stakes or anything, but this was a really cool match. After those chants, Jamie Hayter, Toni Storm was running off the ropes. Toni Storm trips her. Rebel's laughing. All of a sudden, Thunder Rosa comes out. She chases Jamie Hayter to the back. Rebel, I believe she was back there, or she probably got chased back. I don't know what it was. So you had that. Britt Baker and Toni Storm, after this point, man, they really... Man, there was a spot where Toni Storm, she does her normal. She has the opponent on the bottom turnbuckle, and she runs and kind of like a hip thrust to the face. And man, she hit Britt Baker like hard, and Britt Baker staggering on Twitter and just like the crowd and even the announcers play like, man, like, is Britt Baker okay? Like, she took that pretty hard. And of course, Britt Baker was playing possum. She rolls up Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter kicks out. Then we get the spike pile driver that Toni Storm performed. Toni Storm pins her 1, 2, 3. Toni Storm wins. Thunder Rosa comes out, holds the title. Again, it was announced later, actually in between the ladder match, that we're going to get Thunder Rosa and Jamie Hayter at Forbidden Door. So we are getting a women's title match. That should be fun. Hopefully they give it enough time, because I am anticipating that Forbidden Door pay-per-view is going to be 4 hours. It is what it is. I went to Windy City Ride. It was about 4 hours, so it is what it is. So yeah, this should be an interesting match. I just wish they kind of started doing it with Tay Conti joining Sammy Guevara, joining Jericho Appreciation Society. So I just wish they would do that with a little bit with more of the women's roster, where they add them to these factions and these trios. They did it with Julia Hart, so she's in a faction. Tay Conti's in a faction. Paige Van Zant is with America Top Team. So I just wish they would just add someone to Blackpool Combat Club, add Brit to the Undisputed Elite, and just start adding them to these trios where it's just like, okay, this is going to be pretty interesting. Then we get a backstage segment with Stokely Hathaway. Holy shit, this dude is hilarious. Like, this dude is hilarious. He makes it joke. Not a joke, but he mentions like, yeah, I'm going to be managing. I'm going to be there for Jade's Open Challenge on Rampage, and I'm going to be on the announce team, so I'm getting 2 checks. Yes, 2 checks. Then Willow Nightingale. Yes, Willow Nightingale. If you have not seen her, she is a phenomenal women's wrestler. She interrupts, and he's like, oh my God, I love the afro. I used to have that back in the day. Like, what? He's like, wait a minute, you want to be a baddie? Oh, girl, you're it. And she's like, no, I want to answer Jade Cargill's Open Challenge. And he's like, what? Are you out of your mind? It's like, whatever. So apparently we're getting Willow Nightingale and Jade Cargill on Rampage. That should be a really good match. Honestly, right now, what they should do with their women's division, they're slightly doing it. I wish they would get someone, I'm trying to think of who would be good for their women's division to oversee it and just build it up, because they have a lot of talent. And man, if they can just get that women's division going, man, AEW is going to be a phenomenal wrestling promotion. It's just that women's division just needs some, like, get some, like, they have the momentum, but like, get it more structured and get it more involved on the show. It's already involved, but get it more involved. Get it balanced. That's what it is. We want balance with the women's division. As much as you're putting on the men's division, get balance, because, man, you got some women there that can go. And considering that in a couple months, there might be a top women's wrestler as a free agent, you might want to start building up and making it attractive for other female wrestlers that might want to jump and wrestle. Just saying. So we get a promo from Hangman Page. This was so cool. Ooh, I love this. So Hangman Page, he comes out. He's getting interrupted by Adam Cole. He's like, you have to be stupid. You wanted Okada. We told you Jay White was going to win, and he won. And let me introduce you to this guy who wants to say hello. So Adam Cole introduces Jay White. His music hits. Jay White comes from behind and does the Blade Runner on Hangman Page. And he's like, you wanted me. You wanted Okada. You're not going to get him. And guess what? You're not going to get me. So it's not you. And Adam Cole's like, yes, Jay White, Adam Cole, yes, for the IWGP Championship. And Jay White's like, well, Adam, it's not you either. So we're up in, fans, wrestler, everybody's like, okay, who is he facing at Forbidden Door? One key thing that I liked that Jay White said was, I hold the prize and the power. Honestly, I don't know who Jay White is going to wrestle at Forbidden Door. Is it going to be Bryan Danielson? Trying to think of who else it's going to be. I know some people were throwing out MJF. I kind of threw this out. Just saying, I know it's been reported that he's recuperating, or is his injuries, I don't want to say aren't severe, but, is he healthier than what he's leading on? Kenny Omega. Is it going to be Kenny Omega at Forbidden Door? But we don't know who Jay White is going to be facing at Forbidden Door for the IWGP Championship. Honestly, I would not be surprised if it's Bryan Danielson. That would be interesting. I know Emilio Sparks, shout out to him. He tweeted, we could have a New Japan wrestler win the AEW Interim Championship, and we could have an AEW wrestler win the IWGP Championship, which would be insane, that you would have wrestlers from the opposite promotions win the titles. So that would be pretty interesting if we had an AEW wrestler win the IWGP Championship and a New Japan wrestler win the AEW Interim Championship. That would be interesting, and that would be interesting for their television. New Japan's television, AEW's television. So, I mean, right now, anything can happen with this AEW Forbidden Door pay-per-view, and as we head towards it. So, the main event, we get the ladder match. This was a phenomenal match. I'm glad the Young Bucks won. It's crazy. Like, this was only their second reign. Like, in 3 years, it's crazy to think all the matches they were in for the titles that they've owned, and they only won it twice, which is insane. Like, they only won it twice. What? That's how much AEW has invested in the tag team division. Kudos to AEW. That's one thing that they have lived up to, is tag team wrestling. They said they were going to do it. They lived up to it. Kudos to them. This ladder match was insane. Right off the bat, like, if you were watching it and you seen the normal ladder they had and you seen how high those belts were, you were like, holy shit, there's going to be a large ladder that they're going to use. So you get that. Nick Jackson did 3 German suplexes on Jungle Boy. There was a Hurricane Rana that Jungle Boy did on Matt Jackson through a table. Jungle Boy got powerbombed by Nick Jackson through a table. There was a 450 splash through the tables from Nick Jackson on Luchasaurus. It was just insane, man. The Swanton splash off the ladder on Jungle Boy was insane by Nick Jackson. The double super kick on Jungle Boy as he was doing a slingshot flip off the ropes was, man, that looked beautiful. Then, of course, the diving elbow on the outside by Matt Jackson on Luchasaurus. Then we get Luchasaurus trying to fight off the Young Bucks at the top of the... Mind you, they're on the tallest... That ladder was freaking tall. It had to be maybe 20 feet. Like, that was a tall ladder. So they're on top. He's fighting them off. Young Bucks throw him off. It was reminiscent to the Bubba Ray Dudley spot from, I believe it was WrestleMania 16, when he fell off and went through the 4 table, or maybe it was 17, where he fell off on the ladder into the 4 tables. Young Bucks grab the belts. They win. They are the new AEW World Tag Team Champions. This is going to be fun. A lot of people have been wanting the belts to, like, be moved off of Jurassic Express. It was like, okay, it's cool, they got the titles, but then, like, maybe after a month or so, it just didn't feel like, oh, we want to be behind. It was like, okay, like, put them on someone else, put them on somebody else. And now it happened. Afterwards, Christian Cage comes out, checks on Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy, he's being helped as they're about to leave the ring by, I believe, Dr. Sampson. That's who the doctor is at ringside, and Christian Cage. Jungle Boy is about to leave. Christian stops, grabs him, does the unprettier. Yes, Christian Cage turned on Jungle Boy. About time. It's been teased. So Christian Cage turns on Jungle Boy. So we have that. But man, AEW tonight, this was cool. This was a really cool, fun show. Just wish you had a little bit more involvement of the women on Dynamite. But there might be a glimmer of hope because what they did with Tay Conti, and just, okay, you got Julia Hart, and okay, just assemble them and just involve them in everything. But man, we had Christian Cage turn on Jungle Boy. We had Sammy Guevara be revealed as Fuego del Sol, helping Jericho in his hair versus hair match. We had Orange Cassidy return. We had Jay White pretty much say Hangman Page and Adam Cole are not competing for the IWGP Championships, and we don't know who it is. So it's a lot of momentum heading towards Forbidden Door. I'm ecstatic, and I have a lot of anticipation for this pay-per-view. It's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. Hopefully no injuries heading to it. But we'll see what happens. But this is my review for the June 15th episode of AEW Dynamite. Road Ranger. There you go. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Follow House of Wrestling on all social media platforms. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Man, with all the crazy news that we've heard the past 2 days in the wrestling world, this show was like, this was a really cool episode that, if you guys know my reviews, this was an episode where you could escape from all the craziness in the world. You could just sit down for 2 hours and just escape and just enjoy. It's like, oh man, this is cool. All right, man, this is crazy. I like this. So that is my review for AEW. So with that, like I always say, stop fighting over wrestling. Enjoy it. There's a lot of crazy stuff in the world, man. Just kick back, relax, and just let it, let pro wrestling take your mind off things for a little bit. All right, with that,